Jayo Gopi Janna Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Gopi Janna Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Munatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopi Janna Vallabha Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Amunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Krishna, this morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Lord Brahma's prayer for creation, and text 43 and 44. On the board is 44, so I'll first read the 43 and then we'll chant together 44. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Shloka 43, sarva-veda-mayenedam ātmanā-tmātma-yoninā prajāḥ sṛja yathā-pūrvaṁ yascha anuśerate. Translation: by following my instructions, you can now generate the living entities as before, by dint of your complete Vedic wisdom and the body you have directly received from me, the supreme cause of everything. And now Shloka 44. Maitreya uvāca tasmā evaṁ jagat-sraṣṭre pradhāna-puruṣeśvaraḥ yajyedam svena rūpena kañja-nābhas tirodade. Maitreya uvāca tasmā evaṁ jagat-sraṣṭre pradhāna-puruṣeśvaraḥ yajyedam svena rūpena kañja-nābhas tirodade. Please chant. Uvāca. Vaishnavas? Maitreya uvāca. The sage Maitreya said, tasmā, unto him, evaṁ, thus, jagat-sraṣṭre, unto the creator of the universe, pradhāna-puruṣa-īśvaraḥ, the primeval Lord, the personality of Godhead, Yajya idam, after instructing this, svena, in his person, rūpena, by the form, kañja-nābhas, the personality of Godhead Nārāyaṇa, Tirodhade, disappeared. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The sage Maitreya said, after instructing Brahma, the creator of the universe, to expand, the primeval Lord, the personality of Godhead, in His personal form as Narayan, disappeared. Purport. Before his activity in creating the universe, Brahma saw the Lord. That is the explanation of the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. When the creation awaited Brahma's activity, Brahma saw the Lord, and therefore the Lord existed in His personal form before the creation. His eternal form is not created by the attempt of Brahma, as imagined by less intelligent man. The personality of Godhead appeared as He is before Brahma, and He disappeared from Him in the same form which is not materially tinged. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Om Ajnana-timirandasya ghānāñjana-śalākaya chakshur unmilitam yena tasmā Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Ghoravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavade Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Ghorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gorat Vishe Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are just at the end of the 9th chapter, Lord Brahma's prayers for creative energy. With these 2 shlokas we finished the 9th chapter. So it is described in the Shrutis, in Upanishads, that before the creation only Supreme Lord Vishnu existed. There was no Brahma, there was no Shiva, there were no demigods, nobody was there. Only Lord Mahavishnu, who was lying on the causal ocean. And by his breathing, all the universes manifested in seed forms. And from these seed forms, they generally developed into gigantic, innumerable universes with all the planets, demigods, animals, human beings, living entities. And comparison is given that the universes expand from these seed forms as the banyan tree develops from a small seed, and over the time it becomes gigantic banyan tree. So how all these universes develop from such a small seed? To the process of secondary creation that is done by Lord Brahma. But we have to remember that he is not the original creator. All different types of bodies that Lord Brahma creates, the design for these bodies existed even before Lord Brahma conceived them. Like in a factory where the motor cars are assembled and produced, those who are assembling these motor cars, they are not really the creators of the motor cars. They're just putting something that designers and creators of these cars, engineers, did. So similarly, Lord Brahma, he is just assembling the material elements in certain way as governed by the Lord, who is giving him the design. But if you remember, when Brahma was born, first he didn't know where he is, what is he supposed to do. And what did he do? He did tapasya. When all three worlds were submerged in water, he saw only darkness and the water. And then he went down to the stem of the lotus flower to find, he couldn't find. And eventually he sat and he meditated. For 100 celestial years, which comes to 6 hours of his time. So Vishnu Chakra Thakur, he explains that this happened in the first day of Brahma, after his birth. And that first day of Brahma is called Brahma Kalpa. But at the end of each day, there is a partial destruction, pralaya. So planetary systems are destroyed. And and Brahma goes to sleep. And the next day, again, he needs to do creation again. Again and again, every day, he has to do creation. And Vishnu Chakra Thakur, he explains that in the Padma Kalpa, he actually says that in that first day of Brahma, Lord recited this Chatushloki Bhagavatam, essential Bhagavatam verses, starting with Aham Evasam Evagre. This is in the 9th chapter of 2nd canto. But then he explains that in the Padma Kalpa, which was the last day of the previous half of Brahma's life, Lord also taught this Chatushloki Bhagavatam in different form. So we are now in the second part of Brahma's life, means that he already crossed 50 years of his age. So this Padma Kalpa was the last day of his 49th year. So in that Padma Kalpa, he taught Chatushloki in slightly different forms, and he says these are verses 32, 33, 41, and 42 of this chapter. This was the Chatushloki in the Padma Kalpa. So Chatushloki are not always the same. So just quickly to remind you, if you are not aware, what are these 32, 33, and 41 and 42 shlokas, I'll just quickly read them because these are essential verses of this chapter and the whole Bhagavatam. So shloka 32 says, Lord is speaking to Lord Brahma, "You will see me in all living entities as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusions." So we'll be free from Maya only when we can perceive the Lord everywhere, pervading everything in each and every atom. Then we can say we are free from illusion. This is what Lord is telling to Lord Brahma. And then in next 33 he says, when you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of moods of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. So once we are in pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, then we will realize our own spiritual form. Sometimes devotees prematurely want to know what their swarup is, and they sometimes even go and receive, how's it called, Siddha Pranali. But without being in a pure Krishna consciousness, without having a purified heart, such theoretical knowledge of your eternal form will not help much. And then in Shloka 41, which is the next of this Chatushloki of Padma Kalpa, the Lord says, "It is the opinion of expert transcendentalists that the ultimate goal of performing all traditional good works, penances, sacrifices, charities, mystic activities, trances, etc., is to invoke my satisfaction." So Krishna's pleasure, this is the goal of everything we do. It should be the goal of everything we do. And then the last shloka, 42, I am the super soul of every individual. I am the supreme director and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to me only. So we have a wrong attachment. We attach to this gross body, we attach to our material mind. And this is causing the problem. It doesn't say, the Lord doesn't say we should not be attached, but we should be attached to Him only, not to our body and everything else related to the body. So every day, like this, when the Brahma wakes from sleep, he needs to create. And then you would think, well, he already did it in previous days, so he knows there is no need for him now to do tapasya. There is no need for him to pray to the Lord for help. But it's not like that. Every day he offers the prayers again, praying to the Lord for help, for inspiration to be able to create all the planetary systems and to manifest all the types of the body. So tapasya or austerity is a standard method for obtaining the blessings, for obtaining higher knowledge, for obtaining higher destination in the next life, for obtaining higher position in this life, for obtaining opulence and power in this life or in the next. So motivation for tapasya could be different. It could be done for many different reasons. And the best tapasya is the tapasya or austerity that has Krishna as the goal. We have example of Vasudeva and Devaki, with Krishna's mother and father, who did tapasya for 12,000 celestial years. It's a very long time. And Lord, even himself, Krishna, praises their determination to do this tapodevyam, this divine tapasya. The Lord says to them, my dear father and mother, you endured rain, wind, strong sun, scorching heat, and severe cold, suffering all sorts of inconvenience according to different seasons. By practicing pranayama to control the air within the body through yoga, and by eating only air and dry leaves fallen from the trees, you cleanse from your minds all dirty things. In this way, desiring a benediction from me, you worship me with the peaceful minds. So they undergo very severe hardships. And tapasya generally involves this, especially the mystic yoga tapasya on the path of mystic yoga, Ashtanga yoga, scorching sun and heat, not eating for days and months, eating only leaves or air. Of course, tapasya also can be performed by those who are determined for some really selfish purpose, like Hiranyakashipu did. He also did very, very heavy tapasya, standing with one arm raised for thousands of years, that his body was eaten by termites. This was quite some tapasya, but what was his motivation? He wanted to become immortal. So what we want divine tapasya, divine austerity, tapodevyam. So Lord Rishabhadeva, in the fifth canto, he is teaching, he's saying, Rishabha uvāca, nayam deho, deha bhajam, nariloke. So he says, of all those who have material bodies, who have obtained material form, kashtam kaman arhate vid bhujamye. They should not work hard for sense gratification that is available even for stool eaters, hogs and dogs. What should they do? Tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam shudayet. One should perform divine austerity by which heart is purified. Yasmat brahma saukyam tvanantam. In this way attain unlimited and eternal spiritual happiness. So by performing divine tapasya, devotional tapasya, we can attain unlimited and eternal happiness, which is something quite different from a fleeting material happiness that lasts only for a few moments. But most conditioned souls in the material world, they don't want to perform divine tapasya. And that's why they'll be forced to perform austerities for sense gratification, for sleeping, eating, mating, and defending. The Lord's energy will force us to do this sort of tapasya, to do very hard work. And the whole goal of material civilization, mundane civilization that we have now is focused on doing hard work and hard tapasya, fulfilling these basic needs. But this is not what human civilization is supposed to be. Human life means voluntarily practicing some suffering for the advancement in spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada says, and he says also, of course, there is a suffering the lives of animals and plants, which is suffering due to their past misdeeds. However, human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penances in order to attain the divine life. After attaining the divine life, one can enjoy happiness eternally. So to enjoy fleeting material happiness that lasts for a few moments and is followed by misery is not something very smart. There are many other examples in Bhagavatam, like Dhruva Maharaj, who did also very severe tapasya. And then we have gopis as the example of those who did this Katyani Vrata in order to obtain Krishna as their husband. And then if you look of all Rajavasis, like cowherd boys who are every day playing with Krishna and other residents of Vrindavan, how did they achieve this exalted position? We have to conclude that in their previous lives they must have performed some tapasya in order to be able to play with Krishna as their friend. In the 10th canto, there is a verse where ladies in Mathura, they are wondering, Gopyas tapakim acharan yadamurshya rupam. They sing, what austerities must the gopis have performed to have darshan of Krishna's form? Lavanya saram asamurdvam ananya sidam. That form is the essence of loveliness, is not to be equal or surpassed. Drigvi pibanti anasa abhinavam durapam. With their eyes, they always drink the nectar of that Krishna's form that is always new and difficult to attain. Ekantadama yathā-pūrvaṁ. And that form is the only abode of all fame, all beauty, and opulence. So they are praising the gopis, the ladies of Dwaraka, and they are concluding that they must have performed some really divine austerities to be able to drink the beauty of Krishna's form in front of them. In the 6th canto, in the shloka that is explained, the tapasya brahmacharina, the tapasya of being brahmachari is jnana khanda torment. Srila Prabhupada is giving the definition of tapasya. We want to define what the austerity is. So he says, tapa is explained in the Smriti Shastras as follows. Manasas chendriyanam cha aikagram paramam tapaha. Complete control of the mind and senses and their complete concentration on one kind of activity is called tapasya. Our Krishna consciousness movement is teaching people how to concentrate the mind on devotional service. That is first class tapa. So complete concentration of the mind and senses on one thing is called tapasya. And if that one thing is Krishna, then it's tapodeyam, it's divine tapasya. So in order to have a darshan of Krishna's beautiful form, as the gopis did, we need to perform one austerity, and that is to completely concentrate our mind on Krishna, on his form, his name, qualities, and pastimes. Of course, this is easier said than done. Otherwise, everybody would be great yogi and bhakti yogi. But Lord Brahma, he succeeded in that. He completely concentrated his mind on the Lord, and as the result of that, he saw the Lord in his heart and understood who the Lord is and who he is and what is he supposed to do, how he's supposed to create. So that's why he offered, after having darshan of the Lord in the heart, he offered a prayer to have this creative ability. He knew that he himself cannot do it, that he needs empowerment. So after having darshan of the Lord in the heart, and the Lord instructed him to do more tapasya to be able to create, or rather to become an instrument of creation, instrument in the Lord's hands. So without empowerment, nobody can do anything significant. What to speak of such a huge thing as constructing the whole universe? We cannot build even a temple without empowerment. What to speak of constructing a universe? So, although he did this process of creation the previous days, each day he prays again and again to the Lord, please help me do this service, help me manifest the universe, construct the universe. So how many times we did something and we thinking we know this. So we thought, I know this, I can do it. I already did it many times. But then, when we need to do it again, somehow we got stuck. The mind gets blocked and you can't remember anything. Have you ever found yourself in such a situation? So this happens when we think we are the doer and we forget that we need mercy and blessings from above in order to be able to do anything significant. So conditioned soul in the conditioned consciousness thinks that he is the doer. So Bhagavad Gita says, Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasraha ahankara vimudatma kartakamiti manyate. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by three modes of material nature. So only when somebody acts on the platform that is above the gunas, then inspiration and intelligence to act comes from the Lord who is the within. Then the Lord is guiding us what to do and how to do. He gives us the intelligence. But we have to raise above the gunas. There are many examples of creations done through divine inspiration. If you look at any famous artistic works, whether it's music like a Mozart, Beethoven, or some paintings, Picasso, or some scientific work like, Albert Einstein or Tesla, all these great innovations that they came with, all these ideas that they got for these inventions and this artwork, it came in a moment of when their mind was still and silent, when the mind was controlled, and they could hear that guidance from within, when they could hear the super soul from within. So if we see that anybody did something extraordinary and significant, we have to understand that he did it through divine inspiration and guidance. For example, Srila Prabhupada's spreading of Krishna consciousness in 9 years all over the world. We have to conclude that single person cannot, it's impossible to do it, that he had to be empowered, that the Lord had to act through him. It had to happen to divine empowerment. And that's why we should never take a credit whenever we do something that is worth. We should always consider ourselves as humble instrument. And this is how all self-realized persons think. Prabhupada also thought, I'm just instrument in the hands of my Guru Maharaj and just carrying his mission. And even Lord Krishna himself, he considers himself an instrument and receiver, the mercy of the Brahmanas. So Lord Brahma is fully aware that he is just an instrument. And that's why he is fit to be head of Sampradaya, of Vaishnava Sampradaya, Brahma, Madhva Sampradaya, Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. And then he is completely fit to transmit the knowledge coming down from the Lord to others. So who was the first person instructed by Lord Brahma? 4 Kumaras, his sons. And in Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Lord Brahma, there we find Lord Brahma's instructions to 4 Kumaras. Gopal Tapani Upanishad is the favorite Upanishad of Gaudiya Vaishnavas because it describes Gopal, Krishna, and his supremacy, his worship and process of meditating upon him. That's why it's considered the crash jewel of all Upanishads. So it described in Gopal Tapani Upanishads that once upon a time, inquisitive sages, 4 Kumaras, headed by Sanaka, they asked 4 questions to Lord Brahma. First question, was who is the Supreme Lord, who does the death personified fear, or in other words, whose devotees can surpass the cycle of birth and death. Third question, by knowing whom is there nothing left to be known? And fourth question, by whose inspiration is this material world moving? So these were the four questions that the sages, that were just 5 years old boys, they had. And they came to their father and humbly inquired. So in reply to their questions, Lord Brahma answered. So first question was, who is the Supreme Lord? And Lord Brahma, he said, Shri Krishna vai param dhaivatam. Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Brahman. He is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the worshipable Lord of all. So clearly here, he is indicating who should be worshipped, not even Narayana or Vishnu. He says Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna vai paramam devatam. And then they ask, whom personified death fears? And then Lord Brahma answers, Govindam mrityur bibheti. Personified death certainly fears Govinda. Therefore, devotees of Govinda, they are above the cycle of birth and death. Because they have taken shelter of Govinda, they also do not fear of birth and death. And then he asks in third question, by knowing whom is there nothing left to be known? You know the summit of all knowledge. You know something and after that there is nothing else to learn. So he says in answer to the question, Gopi jana valabha jnanena tad gyatam bhavate. Simply by knowing Gopi jana valabha Krishna, there is nothing left to be known. Gopi jana valabha, the beloved of the gopis over in Vrindavan. If you know Krishna in this feature as Gopi jana valabha, nothing else is left to be known. And the fourth question was, by whose inspiration is this material world moving? And he said, Svahayedam sarhasaratiti, by influence of Lord's Maya energy. The material world is moving. And it also by inspiration of the Lord himself who empowers his material energy or Maya. So after that, Lord Brahma, he taught 4 Kumaras 18-syllable Gopal mantra. Actually, it was the first diksha, first initiation in universe that happened. We all, those who got the second initiation, we all got this Gopal mantra, and this is understood to be the primary diksha mantra, Gopal mantra. So we all who have second initiation chant this mantra, which starts with Kama Bija, Klim, and ends with the word Swaha. So satisfied with the answer, Sanaka, one of the 4 Kumaras, he inquired further. Then he asked, who is Krishna? Who is Govinda? Who is Gopi Jana Vallabha? He wants more knowledge about this. And what does the word Swaha refer to in the mantra you have given us? So Lord Brahma, he replied to them, who is Krishna? He said, Krishna is the one who is all attractive. This is the meaning of the name of Krishna. He destroys all sinful reactions, even of atheists who pronounce his name. So what to speak about the others? Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha. He is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, and he is the ultimate object of worship. So in this way, he clarified more who Krishna is to his sons, who previously knew nothing about it. And then on the question, who is Govinda? He said the name Govinda refers to one who protects and maintains the cows of Gokula. So we know that Lord Govinda, he joined many pastimes with the cowherds and cows in Vraja. And Gopashtami is one day in Kartik that we specifically celebrate his cowherding pastimes. Govinda also means the Supreme Lord who is the seer and the object of Vedic knowledge. And then third question, who is Gopi Jana Vallabha? Brahma said that Gopi Jana Vallabha means that only when one understands Krishna's identity as beloved, the Lord of the gopis, he can attain all spiritual knowledge. Gopijana Vallabha is supreme enjoyer of divine damsels of Raja or the gopis. He is the creator, maintainer, destroyer of the entire universe. And then the last question was, what does the word Swaha refer in the mantra you have given us? And Swaha refers to Krishna alone. And then anyone who chants the Gopal mantra while meditating on this extraordinary personality of Krishna and worships him without material attachments, he will attain liberation. This is guaranteed. So after hearing this explanation of Lord Brahma, sages inquired further. They asked, what does that Krishna, who is the object of meditation, look like? And what is his form? How can I please him? How should I worship him? So then Lord Brahma, he explains them how Krishna looks like. And then he explains them also the mantra dhyana, the meditation on that form while chanting this 18-syllable Krishna mantra or Gopal mantra. And also in Brahma Samhita, we have explanation of Gopal mantra. I'll just quickly read from the commentary of Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. He says, as discussed in Sri Brahma Samhita, as well as Gopal Tapani, Brahma chanted the Gopal mantra, preceded by the Kama Bija for success in creation. So if we ask how actually he created the universe, it was with the help of this Gopal 18-syllable mantra. The mantra was so powerful that enabled him to create all the planetary systems. And then I'm continuing. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur says, because his desire to create was not entirely unrelated to the selfless desire of the Lord, he was successful not only in the work of creation, but also in gradually transcending material desire. He combined his worldly aspiration with the desire to serve the Lord, and thus taught how to dovetail one's desire with the devotion. So basically, Kama Bija and Gopal Mantra, they facilitated Brahma's work of creation of the universe. Each syllable of this Gopal Mantra contains different material elements. So Brahma employed the sounds of these elements, the sounds of the Gopal Mantra in order to manifest material ingredients that are present in the subtle form within the mantra. So this twofold power of Kama Bija that Brahma experienced, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, he explains in his commentary on Brahma Samhita. He says, one aspect is that the Gopal Mantra, it tends to make the pure soul run after the all attractive Sri Krishna, Lord of Gokula, and of the divine milkmaids. This is the summit of the spiritual tendency of the jiva. When the devotee is free from all sorts of mundane desires and is willing to serve the Lord, he attains the fruition of his heart's desire, Lord Sri Krishna. But in the case of the devotee who is not of unmixed motive, so in the case of somebody who still has material desires, this super excellent mantra fulfills his heart desires also. So even if we have material desires, Gopal mantra, Krishna mantra will fulfill these material desires as well. So the transcendental Kama Bija is inherent in the divine logos located in Goloka, and the Kama Bija, pervertly reflected in worldly affairs, satisfies all sorts of desires of this mundane world. So the Gopal mantra, if we have any material desires and we don't know how to fulfill them, we should not go and worship Durga, although it's a Durga puja now. We could just chant Gopal mantra and Krishna will fulfill our desires. In the scripture known as Kama Dipika, there's a description of dhyanas, of different meditations while chanting Gopal mantra for different purposes, for those who have these material desires. For example, somebody needs a food, he doesn't have enough to eat. What should he meditate while chanting the Gopal mantra? It's described that he should meditate on Gopal Krishna, who is lying in his cradle, gently swayed to and fro by the gopis and being fed by milk. So if we want food, we just have to chant Gopal mantra and have this meditation. And then, for example, somebody is facing illness, adversaries, misfortune. There is a meditation for that as well. Infant Krishna that is killing the demon Putana. So we can chant just Gopal mantra and meditate on Krishna killing Putana, and our enemies will be defeated, or our disease will vanish. Or somebody desires a long life and good health, he should meditate on youthful Krishna carrying milk and curd in his hands. Or maladies caused by poisoning, Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. Or excessive rain, storm, lightning, earthquakes, Krishna holding Govardhan hill with his left hand. Drought or fever, Krishna is sporting Yamuna river with the gopis. Vanquishing the opponents, the enemies. Meditation of Lord Vishnu riding on Garuda and killing his enemies. So these are just some illustrations to illustrate the potency of the Gopal mantra, which has also, this material potency, not only the spiritual potency. This is for those who are in needs. But unalloyed bhakti is the primary teaching of Gopal Tapani Upanishad, meaning worshipping Krishna without any material desires. And the Lord Brahma defines this unalloyed bhakti in Gopal Tapani, saying, Bhaktir asya bhajanam tadiha mutropadi nairasya naivadas musmin manasa kalpanar etad eva naishkarmyam. Devotion is worship of Him, and such worship consists of absorbing mental faculties in Him without desiring anything in this life or in the next. So this worship is the salvation, the freedom of all bondage. So bhakti is defined as complete absorption of the mind in Krishna. And Lord Brahma says in Gopal Tapani, actually this is the first sloka where he is invoking auspiciousness. He says, Sachidananda Rupaya Krishna Klishta Karine Namo Vedanta Vedya Gurave Bodhi Sakshine. I offer obeisances to Krishna, the form of eternity, knowledge and bliss, whose every act is wonderful, who is the object of knowledge, identified by the Vedanta, and who is the Guru, the witness present in the intelligence, Bodhi Sakshine. Okay, I think I'll stop here. So my main point that I wanted to say in this class, that we need to perform some tapasya. Now the Kartik month is coming, and we are accustomed to take some vratas for Kartik month, to chant the Mudarashtaka, to offer lambs, to fast, to chant more. Whatever our tapasya is, the goal of that tapasya, the goal of that austerity should be Krishna and love for Krishna. And in order to perform tapasya properly, the mind should be focused on the Lord. So whether we want to chant more or do something else, we should make sure somehow to focus the mind with one point in attention on Krishna's beautiful name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Then our austerity will be successful and we will receive the benedictions that we wanted. Okay, I'll stop here if any comments or questions. Yes, Rameshwar Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, the Lord is empowering Lord Brahma. And then Lord Narayan disappears. He is now empowered. And the form of the Lord right in front of him is now gone. So now, he first has to take everything that came before the universe is manifest, which is in that lotus stem, and begin to manifest it. Okay, and now, how does he match up different material bodies with the jivas who are coming out of the last universe? Is his is Brahma empowered to know what is the karma waiting for each and every jiva from the last universe so that he can direct, he or his sons and daughters, whatever, or the material nature, he can direct them into a perfect body just suited for their karma from the last universe where they left off. I'm wondering, is Krishna telling Brahma at every moment how to do this, or is he empowered and he can see the karma and just create the bodies appropriately? I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, the Lord Brahma, this is just even to think about it, to match all the jivas with their karmas with a particular type of body is such a, impossible task. But still, Lord Brahma does by being empowered by Krishna. I don't think Krishna is at every moment telling him, you match this jiva to this body. No, he empowers him, and then Brahma is guided by the super soul within his heart to do the right thing and to match the right jivas with the right bodies.
So there are souls in our universe, like Brahma and other Prajapatis that he empowers to be able to see the jiva and his karma to match and move him life after life into the appropriate bodies, like Yamaraj.
For example,
They're empowered to be able to see karma, which is invisible to us.
Yeah, it's incomprehensible. But by Yamaraj also, for example, he's basically like a super soul. He sees when the millions and billions of conditioned souls do sinful activities, and he exactly knows what he did, and he exactly knows which punishment to give. This has to be great empowerment, and Yamaraj is one who is empowered to do this, and there are other demigods who are also empowered to do other very, very difficult things.
So this is vastly beyond our human brain to even begin to comprehend. There's such power, such empowerment that they can do this. It's quite incredible. And I love what you said. He has to do this every single day all over again. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Radhacharan Prabhu in the back.
Thank you very much for a nice class, Akincana, Prabhu. Very nice. I have a small question, but first I'll mention that in relation to this question that Prabhu just mentioned, Lord Brahma makes the prototypes of the material bodies. Ani that are in charge of giving the false ego. False ego comes in with that. Question is,
just keep it closer because we couldn't hear.
Yeah, Lord Shiva and Bhavani give the false ego. And then a material body forms around that with all the trimmings, whatever comes with it, Yeah, the demigods that are the subtle abode, they're the ones that are assisting with the different karmas. But it's Bhavani who is Mother Nature, so she's the one who gives the
I think you're correct. You are correct, Prabhu. Lord Brahma, he gives the prototypes of the bodies, and then Lord Shiva and his wife Durga, they inject the living entities with different sort of karmas in different types of the bodies.
So my question is just a small one. I just wondered, in the beginning of your class, you mentioned that Lord Brahma meditated for 6 hours of his time. I just wondered where you got the calculation from. I don't know if you've got a...
Yeah, I found in a... I cannot quote now exactly, but this was discussed in the second canto, and there were some slokas there, and we actually, calculated 100 celestial years. We calculated that it comes to half day of Brahma, which comes to 6 of his hours. I could actually find the exact slokas and give it to you, but I calculated it, and I just remember now the outcome of that calculation. Ramesha Prabhu wanted to comment also something on that. Yeah.
we've been discussing this 100 years by celestial calculation. This is like
In Svarga, this is in Svarga. Yeah.
This is like, I'm going to use a crude example from America. Monday morning quarterbacking, you can see, the reason I say that is there's no time yet working in the universe. There's no sun yet. There's no celestial world yet. So later on, someone said what Brahma did was equal to 100 years of the Devas, the celestial years. But when he was actually doing it, there was no time yet. There was no Deva calculation of time yet. So it's like after he did it, someone implied that it was 100 years equal to that. There's no other way to think that I can think of even beginning to explain what is that 100 years.
Definitely not 100 years of his life, because that does not make sense. He lives only for 100 years of his life, so he cannot meditate for 100 years of his life. And there are exact references, I can find it and I can send it to you, few shlokas where this comes very clearly, that these 100 celestial years equals to 6 hours, half of his day, basically. It's mentioned clearly in the 5th canto. There are a few shlokas. I could look for them and give the reference. Yeah, his time is different from the celestial years. It's calculated by duration of your life. Everybody's supposed to have 100 years of life. So 1 year is a 100th part of my life. And then every day. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that it didn't exist. Lord Brahma lives 100 years, so time's always going on. But in relation to the celestial years, Brahma made the wheel of time. In the Vyavatantraha, it's mentioned that he makes a wheel of time. And he pinned the center at Naimisharanya and the outside at Pushkara Dweep. So those times are not real time. Those are created by Brahma. However, Brahma's time always goes on. So time is always there no matter what happens. However, in relation to the 6 hours, I've did a lot of calculations of every time span given in the Bhagavatam. And my calculations comes out as 1.2 hours, and that's why we have the Brahma Muhurta, 1.2 hours. I can give you those calculations later, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we can go deeper into that, whether it's 6 hours or 1.2 hours at the end.
Yeah, because we have the Brahma Muhurta, and he does it every single day of his life for 1.2 hours. And that's called the Brahma Muhurta.
No, one celestial year we would. Six months here, as I remember, is a 1 day in Svarga. 6 months here, 1 day on heavenly planets. 1 day, as I remember. Yeah, we would need.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
There are 6 different earthly realms that have the yearly sphere, not just our Earth. In relation to our Earth, it's 4,320,000 years. That's a celestial year. That's a celestial year. In relation to 1 second of our time on this Earth in Kali Yuga, remember it's not always Kali Yuga, but in Kali Yuga, Lord Brahma's time, 100,000 years passes on this Earth for 1 second of Lord Brahma.
Oh, thank you for this calculation.
You can do the calculation. It works out to 311 trillion, 40 billion. the Bhagavatams give all the calculations for it. We don't have to try.
If
Our human body and our human brain, can you even imagine that? That's what I'm trying to say. This is so beyond amazing. Therefore, we should just be amazed.
what we are given in Bhagavatam, when Lord Brahma told the cowherd boys, just one moment of his time passed, and it was 1 year that passed here on earth. And next moment he came back and saw Krishna performing still the pastimes. This is what we have in Bhagavatam.
If that's the case, if it's one moment is 1 second, as an example, then that 1 second, the pastime would be on Shakadweep. Because 1 year on Shakadweep is 100,000 years here.
Maybe it was 1 millisecond. Anyway, we don't have really time now to go into all these details. Thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.